Hi, everyone. This is Eric Diaz. Thanks for joining this Marketing 110. Really excited to have with us today Tomas Barraza. He's a video and content strategist for Mas Creative. So a little bit about Tomas. He specializes in remotely coaching and producing digital content for impact-driven community leaders to help control their personal brand and company's narrative online to elevate them as thought leaders in their industry. Tomas, really appreciative of you taking the time to be with us today. So yeah, looking forward to talking a bit about video and creating content.
Every time someone hits record on their camera, what do you think happens?
There's a pause. I don't know. What?
They totally freeze up. Dude, they totally freeze up. All of a sudden, they are like a deer in headlights. They don't know exactly how to get past that. They don't know how to get past the Rhodesia. You feel me? Hey, and that's been me too. Like we don't know how to get past that initial hit record and actually get our heart out into the world or capturing it in a way that is impactful. So what I do is I really help that person, right? These impact-driven leaders, I help them to actually, I start to hear their heart and then help them structure their message to where, okay, let's start off with here, then let's move into that. Let's end it with this call to action, right? And not only that, but another big reason why video in particular as a marketing tool is one of the biggest assets. And I would go on to say probably the biggest asset. And here's the big reason why is when you actually start to see someone's mannerisms, right? You see the way that their eyes squint or the way that they're nodding their head or they're animated with their hand gestures, all of that, it communicates it on a deeper level, the message that they're trying to convey, right? So Rhodesia, thank you. Can you give us an example? Absolutely. So I'll give you an example of maybe even a formula, right? And one of those formulas that I absolutely love to use, it goes with heart, head, hands, heart. Okay, so we start with the heart, we go to the head, we then are moving to the hands, and we end with the heart, right? So what this really looks like is you start off by doing something that captures people's emotions, just like a film would, just like a movie would for a lot of us, right? We capture those emotions. That's almost like toiling the ground, if you will, for the seed that you're about to plant within this person, right? That's where the head comes in. That's where you're sharing some insight with whoever that audience member is. You share some insight, some piece of knowledge and wisdom that you have, something that you want them to know. But then you move to the hands. That is the call to action, what you want them to do, right? With this information that you are giving them. But then you end it once again with the heart, which is again, moving that soil around to now put it on top of the seed that you've now planted. And so using a formula as simple as that heart, head, hands, heart is something that helps people to overcome that fear, perhaps, right? Or just know how to share in a more impactful way. Let's see an example of a client and the content that you've developed. Absolutely. Mr. Diaz, can you actually give me access and I'll show a video, one of the videos from one of my clients who
Yeah, sure.
We used this exact thing. So this client of mine, he is
Are you able to share already, or do you need me to make you the
host? Let's see.
Sometimes it lets you already.
Yeah, I should be able to. Cool. You can see my screen here, yeah? Awesome. Okay. So this client here, his name is John. John Johnson is his name, right? And John, he is a design leader, or he runs a design agency. They do a lot of product design, like apps, websites, brand identity, so on and so forth. Now, he is an identity architect, right? He helps people understand their identity, not only companies, but the personal individual as well, so that they can authentically project themselves out into the world. So this is one of the videos that we created for him. That's kind of like a brand message video that tells a lot about him and what he does. So here we go.
Who are you? I know that's a big question.
Can you hear all good? Let me make sure I optimize.
Yep.
All right.
Who are you? I know that's a big question. The fact is, you are one in 7.8 billion, and that makes your identity the most important definition of your life. As an agency leader, I've worked with thousands of individuals across the world, and the common thread is that they can use their identity to inspire them, motivate them, but most importantly, live every day of their life on purpose. Your identity cannot be defined by a label or a calculated assessment. No, because you are one in 7.8 billion. So instead of trying to fit within systems that could not possibly be designed for you, take a moment today and ask yourself that question. Who are you? Who are you really?
All right, so there is a quick example of how he and I were shaping that message, right? We started off with a really big question, and it's, you know, it's not just who are you, but who are you really, like taking it on a deeper level, right? So that toils the ground a little bit. He offered that insight. You are one in 7.8 billion. There's no way that you are equal to somebody else. There's something that sets you apart. So that's an example of how we use the heart, head, hands, heart to create content, to establish himself as that identity architect in this industry of, you know, brand identity and, you know, just design, if you will.
That's perfect. Right. And Nicole, Rhodesia, let us know if you got more questions, please chat them in or just raise your hand, whatever.
Yeah.
I like that sample. And Tomas, I want to ask another student question that related to some of the work that you do.
Yep.
So I had a question from Jordan. So she said, on average, how long are the videos you create for the various businesses and companies? Like that one, are they usually around that length, or are they different? It just depends, or how?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that is going to vary, right? So when it comes down to video strategy, the most foundational piece that I'd love to share with you guys is what I like to call the trifecta, right? And that trifecta, what it consists of is a lot of it's the promo video, right? That oftentimes lives on social media, and that is created to be quick. It's created to be really fast paced. The overall goal of that video is to capture your ideal client or customer's attention, right? And in capturing their attention, the next thing that you want to do with that attention is move them onto your website, right? And I'm saying you as though you were a client. So boom, promo video, that's something that is oftentimes 15 to 30 seconds, right? Moves them to the website, where we come up on the second part of that trifecta, which is the brand message video. That brand message video, it tells all about what this brand is all about. I'm talking about, you know, the who, what, where, why, when. It answers all of those questions, right? So those typically tend to be around 3 minutes long, because those are a lot more in depth about who they are, right? That's the brand message video. Where it's supposed to be at is, again, on the website for sure. And at the top fold, meaning that when you go onto the website, it's the first one that you see. You don't have to scroll or anything like that. It's right at the top. The last piece of that trifecta is testimonials. And that's the social proof, if you will. For someone who that is your ideal client or customer, they are going to be their attention's captured, right, by the promo. They now know what you're all about. And so if they scroll down on your website, they're pretty much someone that is very interested in what you have to offer. So now this testimonial and social proof in and of itself is the highest converting form of media that there is, because these other two pieces of content did their job. So social proof just gives them exactly that. It shows them people that you've worked with before, their experience with working with you, and it really solidifies the deal for them to take action, be it purchase your product or service, book a discovery call, or whatever that action might be that is set up on your website.
Is a testimonial usually like around a minute too, or what length do you recommend, I guess?
Yeah, so the length of of a testimonial would be somewhere around a minute and a half, right? It can be give or take, 30 seconds or so, but really a minute and a half around there.
Now another key question from Jordan. She asked, so on average, so that's the time of the videos, but how much time does it take to make the videos? So that
Yeah, now that's going to vary because when it comes down to production, whatever the client's budget is, that will vary. For some, they're running on a shoestring budget, right? And so because of that, they're still going to get something quality, but it's not going to be a Toyota commercial type of quality, right? It's not going to be a Nike commercial or anything like that. So that is a tough question to kind of answer. But I guess, if we're thinking in terms of like turnaround, for some, this is where pre-production comes in as a huge thing. Like all the work happens in pre-production to plan everything out, plan not only the scenes, potentially the script, having the talent, if you will, so on and so forth. But it can take anywhere from like a month to 3 months to put together this entire strategy, the promo, brand message video, and testimonials, to have them ready to actually take action on them.
so it can take like 1 month to 3 months to get
Yeah.
these types of videos going.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Okay, so I had a question for this is from Megan. So she said, what non-basic skills do you think a video and content strategist should have?
Yeah, okay. This one's very interesting because non-basic skill.
Like, I guess what advanced skills should, like, I guess, let me ask this. So this question is from D from the class. So she said, for beginners, so maybe let's just ask about tools in general. So she asked for beginners, what are the tools or apps we can use to create videos? And then Megan asked, like, what are some of the more advanced tools should a content strategist or video strategist have?
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Now, I think a big part is there's multiple components to video strategy, right? There is the strategy, right? And that might be the type of videos that we're creating. I had mentioned the trifecta, right? So if it's a promo, brand message video, and testimonial, putting those together. But then there is the actual production of those, right? And so that would require whether it be camera gear and lighting and so on and so forth. And so those would be some advanced tools as well. Then on the post-production side of things, meaning the editing, then there's different software and apps, that's used. A lot of times, some of the more popular softwares is like I use Premiere Pro, which is in the Adobe suite, like Photoshop. Premiere Pro is the video one that I use, but there's also Final Cut, which is an Apple one, or there is DaVinci Resolve, which is another really popular one as well. But those would all be on the post-production. Now, for someone who is like, yo, Tomas, I'm really interested in learning about video production and video strategy, like you can honestly get started with your phone. Especially like the phones that we have nowadays, they shoot 4K, great quality, so you can get started there. You might use something like an app like, I haven't used a phone app in a while, but there's one called I can't even, what, even aside from any other apps, Instagram makes it super simple to take what you have on your phone and create a reel. And everything that you have in there, that's great practice to like get things going on that end as well. But I guess like to answer the question of, what advanced skills that you need, once you get beyond like just the foundational level of knowing what kind of videos you're creating and then actually practicing to create them, then that just takes the quality of what you're creating to the next level. Because for one, you have the experience behind seeing the strategy through to play out. But then also the gear, cameras and so forth to actually make that happen as well. Now, if I can add, there's one more thing to the strategy that's really important. And that is like, it's the distribution of these assets. And the distribution, a lot of times, we'll call that digital marketing. Digital marketing is the part that really separates a video production company versus a video strategy company, right? or an overall a bigger marketing agency, is a lot of times they'll create the video assets and then help them distribute them. And that's what's really important, because what can happen for a client is, man, they got this pretty looking video and they don't know what to do with it.
Mhm.
So they sit on it and it doesn't give them the ROI that they're looking for. Right. So because of that, they're like, they end up not valuing video, when in reality, it was just this final piece of the distribution that didn't end up happening.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Let's talk a little bit more about ROI. So you mentioned that. So, and then Rhodesia asked a question. She said, and I think this is on the same page as that. So, like, for a digital strategy or a video strategy agency, how should they distribute it? And then kind of Rhodesia's point is, how do you know whether content is well received by the target audience?
Yeah, ooh, that's a great question. I'm gonna share my screen again and show. Let's see. So for a lot of digital marketing agencies, not a lot, for digital marketing agencies, period, there is tools that they use, such as pixel tracking, right? They add pixels to the website, and so they get to see what people are engaging with, right? So think of it like on Instagram, you have insights that you can see how many views, how many people engaged with that content, commented, shared it, so on and so forth. That tells the story behind the content and whether it's well received or if it's not. And in that same way, when we have the distribution through digital marketing of those assets, this is a flow chart that I put together for one of my clients, right? And so these are the type of videos that we were creating for them in this proposal. So we were looking at creating a brand message video, testimonials, product videos. My digital marketing team, right? They're outside of Moss Creative, but they're a strategic partner that I work with a lot of times. Their name is Night Owl. They were going to create the website for them, right? And then have product photos, instructional series for social media as well, to like just educate their potential clients about that. Now, those are the videos that were being created, and the ways that they were distributed. First off, those promo videos, they were going to live on these different platforms here. But let's just take Instagram, for instance, right? When we put those on Instagram and they're actually paid for ads, then the questions that we start to ask is, okay, did the client engage with this promo? Either it's a yes, but they didn't go to the website, or it's a no, they didn't engage at all, or else they did and they actually they converted to a membership, or they converted to becoming a client, right? And so through pixel tracking, if they went to the website, we're able to see that they did go to the website. So they did engage with that. Now, if they didn't actually purchase, then we retarget them. Now, I don't know how many of you have ever heard this before, but on average, it takes a person 7 times to hear something the first time. It takes people 7 times to hear something the first time, right? So imagine having to say something 7 different times, or just saying it once, capturing it on video, and then allowing the digital marketing and distribution of those assets to say it over and over and over again, right? So that's where you start to see, if you're on social media, you start to see those sponsored ads come up again and again. And if you're the ideal client of theirs, then you'll be engaging with them. But if you're not, you're just going to keep scrolling, right? So that's the beauty behind digital marketing, is that we get to have all of this data, and whenever people do convert, what we do is we tell the system, hey, replicate this type of person, because we wouldn't be the only ones that are tracking their pixels. That's what Facebook and Instagram and Google and YouTube and Snapchat and LinkedIn and TikTok, they're capturing all of that data too. So they get to see, okay, the person who ended up buying this product or service also is interested in this and is also interested in that. right? So they're also interested in learning about entrepreneurship, and also interested in learning about video production, like if that's what your search history is and so forth. So that's where it starts to become more efficient, and those ad dollars become more efficient, so that we can really start to look at what kind of ROI that they are wanting to get. And that would be based off of, how much ad dollars that they put behind as well.
I got a question from Megan. So she submitted, this is about some of the work that you've done in the past. I think some of the things that she saw from your bio or your webpage. She said, I saw that you help make videos and content to spread awareness about substance abuse and bullying. Is there a certain topic that you would enjoy to create content for?
Yeah, honestly, I say impact driven leaders, and that is it's a niche, but it's also very broad, right? And really what I like to do is I like to hear people's heart. And if it's something that is in alignment with my values, then I want to amplify that heartbeat for the world to hear through video strategy, right? And so in my work before as a speaker, a lot of it was with substance use, because that was my story, as I had shared. With bullying, that was part of my story. Is this like wanting to overcome this power and control, and so if there's clients, or if there's a movement that I can get behind, then absolutely, they're the type of client that I want to work with. I've shut down clients that didn't fit my values, right? If it is an alcohol company, if people want to drink, that's up to them. For me though, because I struggled with addiction, that's something that I don't want. I know the power of media, and I know what my values are, and I know how powerful that it can do for our young people. So I don't want to feed into that. And I respect other people's decisions. You know what I'm saying? So I think, let me know if that answers that question.
Yeah, no, I like that. And then so talking more about the impact driven leaders. So Havana from the class, so she asked, what do you feel that impact-driven community leaders, what do they need help with the most when just starting to create social media videos and content?
Yeah, okay, so first off, just overcoming that first hurdle of press record during headlights, right? That's the first thing. But then the second thing is having a strategy. There's that strategy of automatically putting together a foundational piece like the trifecta, but then maybe even beyond that, right? We got the trifecta in place. What do we continue to do? Because as you know, with marketing, it's being consistently telling your story and sharing your message, right? That's what marketing is really all about. Now, when it comes down to that, from a personal brand side, one strategy that I like to use is something that I like to call like a magnetic content matrix, right? And if we had a quadrant, okay, and if we hit bullseye on this quadrant, then that means that we're hitting on all 4 parts of the quadrant. So the first part, what that is it is the character quadrant, right? The character quadrant tells all about who this person is, and it helps people get to know you. The next part is the connection quadrant. That is a very vulnerable part where people start to share parts of their story. And because they're vulnerable, that helps people to get to like you, right? Those are the top ones. The bottom is credibility. And that's where a lot of people, especially if they're in business, they run a business, they camp out in credibility. They're just like, yo, let me show you what I know. Let me show you what I know, right? However, a lot of people, they don't want to come off too salesy, or they feel too salesy. And a lot of times it's because they camp out there too much. All the content that they put out is just about how they are, the best person for this. It's great to share that, but we just want to be balanced with that. So again, we got character, we got connection, we got credibility, and the last one is conversion. Right. And that's where we're actually sharing content that is beyond just the credibility, but saying, hey, take action. We're running a Black Friday deal, right? We're running a small business Saturday deal, Cyber Monday, whatever that might be. We're launching this product. You want to get in, right? So all of that would be a part of that converging quadrant. Now, again, like if we hit bullseye with each of these, we're helping people to know us, like us, and trust us so that they're much more likely to buy from us. So when it comes down to a personal brand with these impact-driven leaders, the same thing goes. They want to share who they are, what they've struggled with, what skill set that they have, and then what they have to offer to people.
Just so I'm clear, you called those 4 C's. Was it the conversion quadrant?
Yeah, you can call it the conversion quadrant, the magnetic content matrix, right? But that's really what it does. I like that you use that conversion quadrant, right? Because if you're solid on hitting bullseye with this conversion quadrant, boom, like it really will help people to convert to becoming a client of yours.
Very good, very good. Tomas, we're running a little low on time, so I do have a few student questions left.
Yep.
And then if there was any final, tips or advice for you have for those that are just getting started with creating video content. Okay, so from Diana, she asks, where do you get inspired for the content you create, or what's the source of your ideas?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So first off, we don't just want to be a replicate of everyone else, right? We want to make sure that what we are projecting is true and authentic for who it is that we're creating for, right? And so that's first off. Do trends help? I want to say yes, they do. But when people only rely on trends, that's where they're going to get themselves into something very sticky, because as you rely on trends, when you specifically for content, right? If you rely on trends, then you might start finding yourself delivering content that are way outside of what your brand is. And you want to make sure, or we want to make sure that our client is staying true to their brand, right? So I think that's something that is really important. But as a creative, right, because that's what video production really is. As a creative, you want to be able to pull from these and to balance them out, so that way you are really truly representing that brand, but also keeping them at the forefront of their industry as leaders.
Very good. All right, and then I had a question. So if you had any suggestions for future content creators, I'll give you a little bit more background. So all the students in this class, they all either have businesses that are real and they're creating content for them, and they're just starting to create like Instagram reels, and they're all the different types of video formats on Instagram they're using, including just standard videos as well. But if you had any suggestions for them as they kind of get started with creating content with their real business or fictional business, what tips would you give?
Yeah. So first off, you want to make sure that you understand who your brand is. Once again, like I can't express that enough. Understanding who you are, who your brand is very, very important. So that way, when you're telling your story through your marketing efforts, it's consistent, because that's the way to build trust, is through that consistency in telling your story. That's for one, right? For two, you can create your trifecta for your company, and that is great practice, right? It might not just be like just practice, like, or let me just say, practice doesn't mean that it is low quality and that it's no good. Practice, really, all that means is that you're putting what you're learning into practice, right? And that's actually something that I also want to say really quick, and I'll jump back, is if you are someone who is, because I think I saw a question come up that is along this line, this line of some advice for students who are looking for a job, right, without having any experience.
Right.
My biggest advice for you is take what you learned throughout this class, this semester, or even with your other classes, chew on that, and then like say that in your own way. And as you share that, you're building up your personal brand to be the marketing expert to your following, right? And so that's something that starts to establish yourself as an expert, so that once you are going for a job, you already have all of this experience because you have shared it, you've practiced it, and so forth. So, back to with business, putting together your trifecta, the promo videos, the brand message video, asking all of those questions about who you are, what you do, what makes you different, so on and so forth on that brand message video for your website, and then capturing those testimonials. And those testimonials, you can capture it yourself with your cell phone. You can even ask your clients to send them in from them recording themselves as well. So that would be some advice that I would give for those who are already established or beginning to establish.
Excellent. Tomas, the time flew, my friend, and I think we learned a lot, though. I really enjoy kind of getting to know a bit more about your business, how you got started, and I really appreciate you sharing that with the students, because like I said, they're looking to create content, and they're looking for better ways to kind of optimize their strategy. So really appreciate you taking the time today.
Dude, it is absolutely my pleasure. I'm honestly, I'm honored to be able to share. And please forgive me, if I like going deep into my story. The big thing, right, is when you're working with clients, it's very important that you understand their story. And so I didn't share it just because, it's about my story. I share it because story is the essence of capturing video in a way that will move people to take action. And that was the big thing. So, when it comes down to it, the last thing is just taking action, right? But the first thing is understanding the story.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Tomas. And what's the best way to reach out to you if the students want to follow up with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can always reach me at mosscreative.co.
Got it. mosscreative.co.
Yep, I just put it in the chat there. That's on Instagram. You can look up Moss Creative on LinkedIn as well. You can always reach out to me through private message, DM me. That's perfectly fine as well. But yeah, I would love to help out. If any of you have any more questions, feel free.
Perfect. Thanks, Tomas. Much appreciated, my friend.
Absolutely, man.
All right. Take care. Thanks, guys.